So the NBA had a problem. The FBI just arrested around 30 people for gambling related crimes. Now I know what you're thinking. Why the FBI involved? It's just some little gambling stuff. Well, it ain't just some little gambling stuff. Lock in. You see, the thing is there were two major investigations the FBI was conducting. One involving a head coach allegedly working with the mafia and another involving a player basically taking bets on himself. The FBI said, ooh, those are bad. So we're just gonna make it one big investigation. So I said, we're just gonna combine the two cases and call it the NBA gambling investigation. So they can start sharing resources and information about the two cases. And plus FBI investigates NBA for gambling just looks better on a headline. So the NBA comes out heated. They say, FBI, y'all can't call it the NBA gambling investigation. They gonna think we all just out here gambling. Meanwhile, it's only like just one player, like just one coach, like just 28 other people. Y'all doing too much. The FBI said, first of all, you ain't nobody daddy, watch your tone. Second of all, wait till the TikToker/YouTuber get to explain it and we're gonna see if you still out here running your mouth at the end of the video. And so let's talk about how bad these crimes really are, starting with the player that bet on himself. See, his name is Terry Rozier and he had a problem. The IRS comes to his crib. They said, look, you owe us about $8 million in taxes for your house, big bro. He said, $8 million, what? They said, boy, don't act like you ain't know you was paying taxes. Stop playing. He said, you got me there. So he hits up his boy. He says, yo, I owe them guys $8 million. His boy said, the mafia? Terry said, even worse, the government. His boy said, ooh, that's bad. What you finna do? Terry said, I'm gonna see what them parlays hitting for. You see, this was Terry's plan. See, when you make a sports bets, there's these things called overs and unders. Basically, if you bet, is a player gonna score over 5 points or under 5 points? If you guess right, if you guess over, then you get some money. So Terry's plan was to have his friend bet that he was gonna score under a set amount of points. And he knows how many points he's gonna score in the game. Terry does. And that's what makes this so illegal. And it's why the government takes players betting on themselves so seriously, because now it's not gambling, it's basically scamming. So Terry tells his boy, and this is all alleged, technically he tells him, look, on these games, I'm going to be injured. His boy said, damn, Terry, you okay? Terry said, I'm not really gonna be injured, fool. You gonna bet that I'm gonna score a low amount of points, but I'm gonna walk out the game. His boy said, oh, okay, you smart, Terry. So Terry hops in a game. And by the way, Terry could hoop. So Terry said, ooh, hit him with the cross. Ooh, lock in, Terry. He said, my leg. The coach said, damn, Terry, you ran like 7 miles in practice. Terry said, you gonna call me a liar? And that was the biggest problem the NBA had. It was the NBA commissioner's argument. He said, we can't just sit up here and call a player a liar. I gotta take his word for it. The FBI said, wait till the story over before you get to yapping. So through allegedly faking injuries, Terry makes around $200,000. But the thing is, when bets start looking too weird, the police automatically get flagged. So the FBI hits up Terry. They say, how your leg doing, Terry? Terry said, no, it's good. I'm all right. The FBI said, Now, at this point, I assume the FBI hit up Terry's friend, the one who allegedly made the bets for Terry, because the FBI seems very sure that Terry did this, so they must have got their information from somewhere. So the FBI then goes to the NBA. They said, you heard about Terry? The NBA said, yes, but we're doing our own investigation. No big deal. The NBA does an investigation. They come up with nothing. The FBI says, oh, is that so? Now, at the same time, remember, there's another investigation going on with a head coach named Chauncey Billups. See, Chauncey was playing poker, high stakes poker for millions of dollars. Now, the thing is, these poker games were allegedly rigged by the mafia. They had like x-ray tables, contact lenses with like cameras in them, high stakes poker, high stakes scamming. And apparently Chauncey was the face card of the operation. He would basically invite other really rich players over. Because he was so trusted and such a big name, people around the table wouldn't think they're being scammed. Whole time Chauncey went in hand after hand, he getting bread. Other players said, damn, Chauncey, you be winning a lot, huh? Chauncey said, oh, I guess it's just my lucky day. Now, the feds haven't revealed how much Chauncey was involved, but they say he was involved and he got a cut. And here's where things start to get wicked. Since the FBI decided to take these two investigations, make them into one big investigation and reveal it together, it seemed really bad. So Congress hits up the commissioner of the NBA and says, what the hell is going on? The NBA commissioner said, I'm about to explain in a press conference. So the NBA commissioner holds a press conference. He said, look, first of all, Chauncey was involved with the mafia. How are we supposed to know that? You think we got James Bond on the roster? Stop playing with me. Second of all, the FBI said, tell him about Terry Rozier. The NBA said, we was finna get to that. We asked him if he was gambling. He said, no. You think we psychic? I should have called Raven Simone in now. Who you think we got on the roster? The FBI comes out and says, first of all, Raven wasn't that type of psychic. No wonder your investigation failed. Second of all, if we didn't do an investigation, listen closely, then these things would have continued happening. What's going to prevent this type of stuff from happening in the future? The NBA commissioner said, Congress said, you can answer all those questions in front of Congress. So the commissioner of the NBA has officially been called in front of Congress to explain what they're going to do about sports betting in the NBA in the future. And Terry and Chauncey were suspended from the NBA without pay while the investigation continues. But other NBA players actually had a problem with that. They're like, yo, first of all, innocent until proven guilty technically, because it's basically like the NBA can stop paying people or suspend anyone for anything, since technically these two are innocent until proven guilty. Does that make sense? And another problem that NBA players had was with sports betting in general, since leagues all over like NFL, NBA are making so much money with sports betting, showing the commercials and all that, but players are basically not getting anything but harmful effects from it. Since sports betting is making an insane rise, all players hear is, yo, make sure you hit my parlay tonight. Yo, stop scoring points. Yo, like do this and do that. They get calls from friends saying, yo, how many points you gonna score? Like their lives are basically tougher for no profit from it. Players have been complaining that fans in the stands don't care about if they win or lose anymore. They care about if they're going to score a certain amount of points. So it kind of messes with their motivation to play. And I kind of agree with the players here. Check out the new green screen background, by the way, because on top of the fact that all players get is calls from their friends, family, and fans saying, yo, hit my sports bet, hit my sports bet, they also have to deal with the temptation of sports betting in general. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, if you're a player, just don't sports bet. And I get that. But to me, it's unfair that random temptation just got thrust onto athletes out of nowhere. Because now, technically, all a player has to do is sit out one day and he can make like $100,000. Sure, it's something players absolutely shouldn't do, but I'm just saying if I was a player, I would be a little annoyed that this option appeared out of nowhere. And the whole time my league is making millions of dollars from sports betting, whole time I'm just sitting there frustrated. Now at the same time, athletes get stacked. So people are saying, look, temptation, what? You make like $20 million a year. Terry Rozier specifically made $20 million and he lost it all over a $200,000 sports bet. So basically, in other words, what people are saying is if you make $20 million and you have financial problems, then that's on you. Now, in Terry Rozier's case specifically, his lawyer hopped out and said, look, the IRS is capping. He don't owe $8 million. They haven't updated their computers. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. We're gonna have to wait and see when the court case actually kicks off. But what I do know is if he didn't owe money on his house and he made those sports bets, then that's even worse, is it not? Because now you're just scamming for the love of the game. This is all alleged, of course. And while it is sad to say, I do believe that sports betting is messing with the integrity of sport, messing with people's faith in the integrity of sport, I should say. And since there's no real way to police it, I just think that people's faith in sports is just going to keep getting worse.